Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right, welcome to the CWC Podcast, the home for the latest news, rumors, and interviews around the sport of chuckwagon racing. I'm your host, David Selby, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys look good. I mean, Andy,
Thanks.
Genuinely, you look, I've never seen a setup quite like this before. You're well shaved. You've got the beach in the background. Where are you right now?
Well, some of us go on real vacations, and I figured I would just, make one since I can't do that. So
That's a great idea. I should have done that.
And as far as the well shaved look, I'm just trying my best to stick my neck out so I don't look like a grub worm.
Yeah, that's a guy. All the guys understand that. We keep a certain amount of beard, and it shapes the look.
It hides the jowls.
Absolutely.
And
that's why I keep it.
But me too. We get to that day that we are like, I'm gonna shave it off now. I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna feel fresh. I'm gonna go on vacation virtually and feel really fresh, and then I got to be on a podcast. So today is Wednesday, March 12th, and I'm coming to you from the new office where Selby Films now resides and the Chuckwagon Channel HQ resides. And it's spacious. It's echoey. We don't have anything in here yet. We basically just loaded stuff in here to get on the podcast tonight. So we're kind of limping into it, and that's okay. And I've got Savannah in the other room, and she's excited to come on the show tonight. She is our special guest. We've got Savannah Smith, and we've been talking about her for a while now. We've been talking about how we're getting some help. We're getting some full-time help. And she's taken the full plunge. She has moved up here from Arkansas, and we're operating out of Nevada, Missouri now. And so we're excited to have her on in a while. We're going to pick her brain about her journey, how she wound up doing this of all things. This is not, in my opinion, like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory thing where Charlie gets the golden ticket. It's she's stepping into something that's not very established yet, and she's jumping on board, and she's going to be a big part of what we do. And so I'm excited to bring her on and to pick her brain and give her a really hard time because, I believe in hazing. And it's a long lost art that I believe we should practice and treat her like a lady,
It's not
like
lost.
like in a good way. So
No,
be nice.
No, nor is it an art.
Andy's like, okay, old feelings coming up. Old locker room feelings coming up. Stop it, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Andy, if you have trauma, I apologize. But anyways, yeah. So we're coming to you from a new location, and it's going to be a little bit different tonight. Hopefully, you don't hear too much bleed because she's in the mics because she's like a room over. But it's going to be good, and not a whole lot that we're going to cover this week, knowing that we've got next week the first race of the season at Loretta Lynn's spring chuckwagon race. Do not want to miss that one. The chatter, it just kind of keeps picking up as we get a little bit closer, and I know everybody's excited to be there, and I'm excited to be there. It's so weird because I just don't. Maybe because I'm working on chuckwagon stuff all the time, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like there was a big break, but I don't think anybody really feels like that. I don't know. How do you feel? Do you guys feel like it's been a long time since you've done like chuckwagon stuff, or I feel like it's short.
There was a couple months there where I was, questioning the point of life and stuff like that. I mean, I was like,
okay,
please. I was like, please, someone have a race.
Yeah.
I think that they do it just right. Like they give you enough races, and then they give you a little break, just enough to rest and relax, and your equine athletes to rest and relax, and then boom, it's the awards banquet, and then boom, it's the first race. I mean,
Yeah,
like really.
it's a long season. I mean, it really is, and it just got longer. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're literally something that I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen it. We're starting in March. We're ending in November.
Yep.
So that's a long freaking season, y'all, and I'm excited for it. I don't know if my wife's excited for it because there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
going on, and we're going to have a third child running around here pretty soon. But it's I feel like we'll look back on it really like it was great. So that's what I love about it,
So what's
and
gonna
we'll have
happen when
lots of
you
memories captured.
what's gonna happen when you have that baby on the weekend of Clinton?
Oh, so July 4th is the due date. So the closest event that could conflict would be Baker Spain, which will be, I mean, really a week before that. Miranda on the first two, though, we were like within a day of our due date, and so I'm just crossing my fingers. And if if this little boy comes early, then I trust my team, and I know you guys will pick me up, and we've got Savannah now, and for Baker Spain, I know we're going to be staffing a good crew there, and we'll have Dean Horton there, hopefully on the pavilion, shooting from a safe location like he did last year.
We're going to make him do the interviews.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we'll get something. We'll get something good there. Yeah.
Do
So
something.
lots going on. Justin, you staying busy down there in Arkansas?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, staying busy with work. Then I've got these storms rolling in on Friday, so it should be quite fun and eventful.
Yeah, I see you've got your meteorologist hat on there. So what is that? Do you pay for this? Like what you're looking at right there?
Yes,
Or is that
but
like a screensaver?
no, my screensaver is a bunch of different levels of tornadoes, actually. But
Oh.
yes, I do pay for one of these. The other is a free application, but one of them links with my spotter network. So basically, all the spotters in the nation, anybody that does like storm spotting and things like that, they're all listed in this one right here with like little red dots.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So it gives their phone number and everything. And then on this one right here, it actually has the spotters as well, but they can actually live record from their vehicles and it projects it onto this so that you can
Okay.
watch the storm and where they're at as they're coming. So yeah.
Wow. That's pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty
I was
awesome.
going to diss it, but it's actually sweet.
I'm pretty
It's
cool.
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing I didn't know about you.
I'm pretty cool,
I mean,
man.
I mean, you can see some stuff that you might never want to see again. Like
Oh yeah.
you don't have any spotters on there named Twistex or anything, do you?
Well, there is X in the name, but
Oh crap.
yeah.
well,
But
You're
that's
like
WX, weather.
you're like one of those really obsessive storm chaser guys, aren't you?
Well, I like it in this season, right? It's my
Uh-huh.
favorite season. When
So
it's
how'd you get started with that? I got to know.
well,
Like,
so
oh, here we go.
one of the main reasons was, and a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, really, Little Rock was hit by a pretty gnarly tornado, and
that'll do it.
yeah, and it was it actually went through one of the properties that our company owns and did a lot of destruction. And so they were not prepared or aware that it was coming. In fact, the maintenance guys were still outside when it hit the property. And so now I have gone to all these classes and done all these things and learned as much as I can. And really, for my work, I send out mass emails days in advance when we are expecting severe weather. And I just keep an eye on it.
Nice.
So
it's kind of like you kind of became a meteorologist after that happened, and now you're ready. and you live on site.
Yeah.
Which is even better.
Yeah.
Man.
See, this
That's
is the
pretty cool.
difference between me and Justin, because my close call was in Tulsa and I was rolling up microphone cables on a stage at like 2:00 in the morning. Everybody's phones went off. And when I found out we weren't all going to fit in the freezer in the bar, I sat down on the stage and said, "Is what it is."
Oh man.
This is where I'm going.
And then I got to drive through the middle of a demolished Starbucks in the middle of the highway on the way home. So,
Wow.
but I didn't turn into that.
But I will
Whatever
tell
that
you
is.
this. I would love, Andy, come on down during storm weather. Or actually, I will come to your direction because
I'm gonna say I'm in the good spot.
Yeah, in fact, there are storm chasers out there that will not come to Arkansas. Like Reed Timmer, he will not come to Arkansas because there are way too many trees. And so you can't see when a tornado is going to be right up on you.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why
I never thought about
it's very
that.
difficult to storm chase in Arkansas. But I would love to go up there and you bring out all your camera equipment and we'll take my laptop and we'll have it all set up in the truck and we'll go run around and get footage.
We get some ridiculous storm shots, I guarantee you, because I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe you can navigate, and I'll
Absolutely.
do the.
Come on down, David. It'll be a blast.
No, I think I'll just do something safe, like get in a Chuckwagon.
Bungee jump or
I'll tell you what.
I won't do that.
If you don't get in a Chuckwagon, you got to come with us. But we'll be safe. Look, we'll be safe.
Because you've got the storm chaser stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah, you'll see it before it gets there.
Just like Twist Eggs.
Just like Twist Eggs. Jeez. You guys, I didn't know any of this crap before today, so I'm glad we had this podcast about this today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back to Chuckwagon racing. I get a little amped up, man, when it comes to stuff like this.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
And I know it. I know just enough. I'll feed it.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, now that we know why you wanted to be on the podcast was to promote your own podcast that you're starting, where you will be live streaming during every serious storm that comes up from now on. Everybody, link in the description below to Justin's new weather channel. And if you're not into that, and if you actually if you just want to watch Chuckwagon racing, make sure to get over and subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. It's $11 a month or $99 a year, and the value just keeps getting so much better because we've got Savannah now, and we're going to be putting out more and more content. We're going to turn around content way faster. The podcast is going to get so much more love and attention, maybe even better editing than what Justin and I have strung together in the past. So cross your fingers. So
there will be tornadoes on there.
Yeah.
And whatever else Justin sneaks in there and pays Savannah to do.
That's right.
So under the table.
A few years ago, I really did try to get my dad and his friend Jerry. He's not in shape to do it now, but I tried to get them to make their own team, at least in the Land Rush, and I was going to make them call it Two Old Farts in a Whirlwind. I thought it was going to be a really good name.
That would have been a good name.
My father-in-law would have loved that one because he thinks everything that has to do with farting is hilarious. So, yeah. Marty, if you ever watch this show, dissed you. All right. So, so the season's about to kick off at Loretta Lynn's. Next week, make sure you tune in because we're going to be talking about the matchups. And this year, the rules have changed a little bit with the association. You've got to have those matchups in ahead of time. They should have everything's in by what is it, Sunday? The Sunday before that, it's like the deadline. And so we will have the lineups early in the week. We'll be talking to the association and making sure we get that as quickly as possible, and that we are talking matchups, which will be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do that. I think we'll be doing that for every race this year. I don't know why we wouldn't. So make sure you tune in. We're going to be really, I'm excited to get into Chuckwagon racing again and start hearing some of these new names. And so without further ado, I think we should get Savannah in here and give her proper introduction. So Justin, I guess this is probably kind of a big moment for you because Savannah will, starting next week, Savannah will not be a guest. She will be a producer on our show. And so she'll be working behind the scenes, making sure that everything's going according to plan, which means we'll probably have a lot less issues and accidents. So we're all... She's going to take Justin's job. But let's bring her in here. Savannah, here we go. We have a nice
feedback
echo in the room. Oh,
gotta love it.
There's a new invention called a door.
If only we had one at this point, but
I can tell
that you don't.
We're working towards some things.
Listen,
all right, so I'm thinking next time we maybe need to be in different buildings.
I think y'all just need those like sound,
All right, let's freaking do this thing. Okay, so welcome, Savannah. It is the long-awaited interview with Savannah Smith. She is the newest member of the Chuckwagon Channel. She is going to be wearing many hats. We're trying to not give her too many. We want to keep her happy for as long as we can, but she is stuck here because she did move to Nevada, Missouri to do this job, which I am very grateful for her being here. We've already hit the ground running hard today. Today, for example, we were down there at the Goat Ranch where they hold Baker Spain every year, which is about an hour from us, and we're filming. We are editing, we are cutting stuff. She put out a couple of reels, short form content on social media this past week, and we're off to the races. So, Savannah, I'm just going to ask you straight up, and I want an honest answer. How do you like Nevada so far?
All right, so I had mixed feelings coming into it from the massive amount of research I did before moving. I was expecting very small town, not much of anything, which is pretty accurate, but it feels like it's peaceful. Like you're not in the middle of everything. There's not a store and a boutique on every corner and, restaurants up and down. It kind of forces you to sit down and appreciate the quieter moments, actually go to the grocery store and cook a good home cooked meal instead of being lazy. So first impression, pretty good.
So far, it's already been like, we're moving. So like, I did not expect to throw her right into a shoot this week. I mean, not including this one, but yeah, we're already shooting. She's already jumping in. It's just like, I can already tell like a huge weight is off my shoulders. And we're just getting started. So we're excited to have you here, and welcome, a big, huge, warm welcome. And guys, anything that you've got to ask, throw it in here. But yeah, I kind of want to get some background and kind of let people just know who you are, Savannah, because it's not like you're new to Chuckwagon racing. So talk a little bit about your first experience with wagon racing and how that all came to be.
Okay, so Betsy and Brian Boston adopted me in 2013, I believe. So before that, I had never heard of Chuckwagon racing. I mean, I'd seen Western movies. I knew what a Chuckwagon was, but I had no idea that there was a sport as big as it was in Arkansas. So that very first summer, we went to a race, and I want to say Centerton, really, really small, nothing compared to Clinton, but it was a good little introduction to the sport. My dad had these two little red ponies. One was a halflinger, and I'm not sure what the other one was. But that weekend, we realized he is rideable. You can ride him, just not on the track. Don't put slack in the reins because he thinks he's supposed to sprint, and he took off. And at one point, I'm hanging onto the side of him, like arms around his neck, legs around the top of the saddle and underneath. And at one point, I'm like, I can hang on or I could drop. And I dropped, and then a line of cowboys ran right past after the horse, and yeah, fun times.
And so what came next was you lived, and then so you said he was doing other races. Talk about what he races in. Talk about his race team just a little bit. So that was probably kind of like, I was kind of maybe wanting to inform people, that anybody that doesn't know who Brian and Betsy are, maybe kind of talk about them just a little bit, and I'll even weigh in whenever you're done there.
Yeah. So Betsy and Brian, they are the Barbie S racing team. Betsy is more of that, that strong backbone supporting from the stands, and Brian's the one driving. Buckboard, the last few years, he's been running those yellow ponies. So they're pretty easy to spot.
And my experience meeting Brian, which he is the one to thank for our introduction, I started doing the wagon races in like 2009 down there at Clinton, and a little like it wouldn't have been too long before I probably ran into him and interviewed him, because I have a lot of like through the years interviews with him, because I kept going back to his camp every year because he was feeding me so well, and I would always end up there. And I think it was like a Saturday night thing. I don't remember for sure, but I know I can remember specifically doing like a big, huge pot of like gumbo, and they would just go crazy on that. And so I'd always go back, and of course I'd interview them, and then after a while, I think I interviewed some other people too. But it was 2022, and I think that this is right, and maybe it was 23. I was over that way, I feel like, at the end of the week, and I hadn't talked to him that year, and it might have been 23, and I just asked him how he was doing and stuff, and I don't know how we got to talking about it, but he started talking about you doing video and whatnot, and I think he just kind of pointed me in your direction, and I don't know if I got a phone number or if it was just like a social media thing, but you might be able to speak to that better than me. But the rest is history. It was just like, hey, are you interested in doing races? And last year you started doing some races.
Yes. So yeah, it was 2023. And I remember that year I hadn't stayed the night at the races like I normally did. I had went home. So I think you made it over to camp after I'd left, and Brian texted me and was like, hey, the video guy came out. I talked to him about you, and I've got a business card for you. So I showed up the next day, he had the business cards, and then I think I gave a little time after Clinton for things to kind of settle down before reaching out. And then we had a video call, and that was late fall. Spring rolled around, we touched back up, and kind of got our ducks in a row as far as what races you were going to and what races I would be able to attend. And then I just started showing up. It was really fun. Really, really fun.
Yeah. As like a person that's trying to get a business off the ground, and a person who has seen other businesses get off the ground, you always have kind of like this desire, or at least I've had this desire, to build a team of people that actually want to be a part of it, and that it's not all about, like whatever, climbing a corporate ladder or getting paid a whole bunch of money or whatever that is. That's obviously not where we are at right now, but I've been really fortunate to have people just jump on board with this thing, and be really passionate, but not just passionate about like what we're doing, but also skilled people. I feel like we just have a really skilled team, and Savannah, you were, no exception there. I mean, it was like, I went and I looked at your work specifically that you had been doing, and I could tell from the editing, I could tell from your storytelling, and from your interviewing that that you get it, that you understand it. And sure enough, last year we were able to try you out. It was awesome. Had you go to several races, and it's just so cool that when you kind of plant a seed, you get to see something kind of flourish after a while. And that was really neat I mean, it's like, how does this all happen? And it's, I think that there's like a God thing happening. There's some right place at the right time stuff going on right now. And I feel like we kind of stole you a little bit, and I'm just so excited that you're here. So again, welcome. And I think that Justin's got a couple questions for you.
Well, I've got one. So tell us a little bit on how you got started into photography and videography, and what the key elements were there on why you wanted to take that route.
So I actually don't have a really straightforward answer for that. I'm not really sure how I kind of got into photography. I always put it back to my grandma as a child. She always had a camera with her, was always asking for group photos, family photos, photos with a cousin. There was this little pocket park in Clarksville we would go to every season, and we'd get pictures there. But when I was 16, I think I saved up all summer for a nicer camera, which was still a Walmart Canon. And we got it right before a set of races. So I actually think the first time I ever shot like on a camera that had the interchangeable lens capabilities was at a Chuckwagon race. And they were horrible. God bless. People with white shirts had a purple outline around them. It was ridiculous. And then after that, I just kind of kept going, taught myself as much as I could. I was very blessed to have a network of people who was willing to trust a 16 or 17-year-old with a camera to do paid sessions. And that helped me grow a lot as a photographer, as somebody that was just trying to work with people in general. And I just realized I love photography. I love being able to capture emotions or feelings in an image. So I just kind of continued it as a hobby side hustle, but never really thought that I could truly make a sustainable career off of it. But then again, I didn't have access to individuals in my realm of people that actually had done that. So I didn't have that example, for lack of better terms. But no, I went to UCA, which is University of Central Arkansas, for marketing and economics. I was like, well, I kind of understand what marketing is. I like the aspect of being educated in business. Maybe there's some way that marketing and photography can align. And then I think second year of college, I got a call from a recruiter. We had a couple conversations, and it just happened that there was a public affairs position open in the state of Arkansas for the National Guard. And that would allow me to go to 6 months worth of training at the Defense Information School at Fort Meade in Maryland. So it was a brush up on some basic photography stuff that maybe I already knew, but the more technical side of things, which I appreciated. Dove into videography, which is Maryland was the first time I really did anything with photography. It was kind of a necessary evil for that position that we were doing. But we did photography, videography. They taught us how to be interviews, prep an interviewee, conduct the interviews behind the camera, in front of the camera. So a lot of the things I get to use now were things that I got to do in drill and honestly miss a little bit. So it just, one step after another, I just kind of kept doing things that pointed me towards that direction without intentionally saying, okay, this is my career direction. This is where I want to go. So at this point, I am very, very thankful for the kind of full circle it's come from, being adopted by Betsy and Brian and really having that secure, supportive family that had super cool hobbies. And then years later to be offered a job to be wholeheartedly involved in this community and work with a camera, be creative on a day-to-day basis. I'm not stuck in a cubicle. Not that that's a problem. I want to be more than just a warm body. And I feel like this gives you that versatility and like change of pace where nothing's the same every day. You're building relationships with people. You're getting to know more about them underneath everything. So it is crazy. I feel like I'm not wording this very well, but I am through the moon about all of this.
That was terrific.
Well,
and
don't feel weird around us.
no, what I was going to say is, I, in my job and my career, I like nothing more than to always continue learning all the time. Right.
Absolutely.
I feel like when I'm steady and when I kind of know my job fully, then I start to get stagnant and I start to not care as much because, well, I kind of know everything already. I'm not learning anything. And so I think that with the job field that you're going into, that's a great, it's really something that you're going to continue to learn all the time because things change constantly, especially in technology. So kudos to you for having that kind of job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I gotta
Thank
say,
you. Kudos to my boss. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put it that far, but
yeah, and I've got to jump in and say that as far as I've said it before, like you're highly overqualified for what having a job here is right now. But at the same time, there's nothing that really prepares you or qualifies you for jumping into something that's not been established, or we're doing things that nobody's really done. We're the first Chuckwagon channel to my knowledge, and so it's just like it's such a blessing to have somebody with a wide skill set, and I just know that you're going to have a lot of opportunity to learn and grow with what we're doing, and I just think you're a really, really great addition to our team, and we're really excited. And you also bring diversity because we're just a bunch of silly dudes, and we probably needed to have a woman's touch in the whole group here, and so we appreciate that too. But we also have a meteorologist, which I didn't know that, but we have that. So
I'm not a meteorologist.
you are for me. You're the closest thing.
More than we are.
I've got to one.
Yeah, but you can't call me a meteorologist because I've never had like the actual meteorology,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're saying like we could get in trouble like that, practicing without a license kind of thing, or something if you claim that title.
Right, and I just don't want that to be an issue. I'm not a meteorologist. I am
You're a weatherman.
A weather sleuth, right?
A sleuth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I do want to say, or I wanted to ask you, and this isn't like a job interview because you already got the job, but this might feel like it. But I'm like wondering, what is the most kind of crazy thing you've ever had, like that you've ever shot, whether that was a photography session or a video session? What was kind of the most silly or obscure, like out there thing that you've ever done that was maybe memorable to you?
Now, I'm going to have to think really hard on the funny and obscure and get back to you on that. I will say, from my opinion, the coolest, all military related. So my top 3 would be shooting from a Black Hawk. That was pretty freaking awesome.
Wow,
oh, yeah. So there was one photo I had gotten of the Arkansas chief of staff at the time, and he was in the window seat at the very front, right behind the terminology check there. Anyway, so he's facing out of this window with a giant 50 cal machine gun with the little butterfly with the butterfly triggers, and I'm in the back seat, and I've got my camera wrapped around my wrist, holding it out the Black Hawk, and I've got this cool picture where you see like the wall of the helicopter, and you see him on this side, but then the gun on the other with the shell casings dropping out. That was pretty neat.
That's cool.
Another one would be getting to interview a general inside of a paladin. And I like to say paladins are what most people think of when they hear the word tank. So I was stuffed inside, like on this little bitty shelf, all crunched up, and I had my camera, and then I'm talking to this person that outranks me by so many levels. And then the MLRSs, so multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS. Yeah. So my last annual training at Fort Chaffee, we got to go out and cover those, their live fire. So it was 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, and we're by the Humvee with coffee and Doritos and beef jerky for a wholesome breakfast, and we're just watching rockets go off.
So is this like the truck mounted ones, like the HIMARS and stuff, or is that?
Yes, I want to say yes. Now don't fact check me on this because again, terminology, the specifics, I'm not the person. But it was almost like a dump truck, and then the beds would level up and then turn, and they would shoot sideways. It was wild.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Next question. I would like to know, in the last 2 years, what's your favorite Chuckwagon memory shooting the races over this last, I guess, year so far?
It would have been finding Andrea Fralix. What was it, that Saturday that we had drove all over looking for? Finally got her locked down, and she was in a good mood. I think she had had a few drinks to kind of loosen up, so she was feeling really conversational. It was just a good interview, and I'm gonna tell on myself, I cried when I saw the documentary, and I screenshotted it, sent it to like 4 people, and was like, I did this interview, and it's so emotional. It was so good. So
that's awesome.
A very fulfilling moment.
Absolutely.
It's the little things for me, guys.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
So I thought I knew the answer when you started talking a minute ago, but now I've heard you talk more, and now I don't know. So when it comes to like photography in general, I don't consider myself to be like an artist. I consider myself to be a technician, which is pretty stinking obvious. Like I'm like very, 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 very much into the technical aspect of it. And I'm not really good when it comes to things like getting emotion out of people or posing and stuff like that. I really stumble on stuff like that a lot. But you said some stuff earlier that made me think that may be the direction that you lean. And then you said something later that I thought, well, maybe there is a lot of technician tendency and stuff in there too. So if you had to like kind of, I guess, categorize yourself, what would you say there? Would you say that you're more leaned into the artistry of it or the tech and the gear and stuff like that?
I would like to say more into the creative artistry side of things. I am so far from a tech head. I'm pretty sure you were the one that showed me where the appropriate output hole was. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So I'm here for
the microphone jack. We're talking about the microphone jack.
The DJIs. I had that little cord and I was like, man, this camera body only came with the microphone jack. I don't know where this is at. And he was like, oh, it's right here. And just flipped it. It's like, okay, well, thank you. That wasn't embarrassing, but now I know it's there.
It's okay because Andy's beach scene back there has been refreshing for a while.
I am aggravated about that. So thanks for pointing that out. You saw me turn around and look at it while ago like crap. So yeah, my vacation is ruined. Thanks.
I've been waiting for the sun to just set and go down, but it just stays sunset all the time.
It said 8 hours of a sunset on the beach, and I said, how? That doesn't make any sense, but I'll take it.
Hold on. There's a place in the world where that happens. Where is it though?
I don't know.
Where it's
North
like
Pole,
Alaska.
Well, doesn't it happen in Alaska? But there's somewhere else, too. And I want to say Switzerland, but that is not
Greenland?
right. Maybe.
we just went way out of my element. I don't know.
Just trying to load.
So,
anyway. So last thing I wanted to hit on here, Savannah, wanted to give you the opportunity to maybe shout out anything to Brian and Betsy and give them a little nod, because if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't even have you here right now.
You know, I'm really glad you brought that up. I'm an emotional, sentimental person as is. That to be said, I was so emotional that week and leading up to it because Betsy and Brian are, again, my adopted parents, and they are absolutely incredible people. But I also struggle when it comes to asking for help. I feel like if I've made a decision, such as moving out of state for a job, it's kind of on me to figure it out and get my ducks in a row to be able to do that. And no, I told Betsy and Brian, and they were supportive from the first conversation. Like even when I was like, okay, hey, David and I just kind of ballparked this. It's all hypothetical back in November. And Brian was like, if you get the opportunity, you need to go. And Betsy, who's always the voice of reason, she was like, no, this is something you need to do. And everybody pulled together, and they have amassed me an entire house worth of things, everything from, the kitchen sets and the silverware to a dining room table, coffee table, everything you could think of, with the exception of a broom and a mop. I think they pulled together for me. So I'm very thankful for that. And then getting me up here, Buddy and Brandy Smith, who are also some racing competitors. They compete in Classic, and I believe their team name is 7X. We had some issues with our big truck, so the day before they lent us the truck on top of the stock trailer that they already let us borrow just to haul everything up there and make it easier. I know that I'm surrounded by great people, but that was just one of those moments in your life where you're like, wow, like I have a really, really good support system, and I am immensely thankful for them. Just really good people, really good people.
Well, I know personally, I'm very, very thankful for them as well. I think everything happens for a reason, and knowing that I kept revisiting Brian's camper over all those years. It probably all happened for a reason. There was a relationship sowed there for a reason, and it led to this, and I know it's going to lead to more things. So I also want to express my gratitude to those guys. Thanks for encouraging her to come and be a part of this, and I'm fully confident in saying that it's going to be a great adventure as we go here, and I I meet a lot of people doing this, and I meet a lot of good people doing this, and I really get a good feeling about it. So I feel my mom always asked me to say one thing when I'd walk out the door to go to school, and that was to say right place at right time, to make sure that I was putting myself there. I was manifesting that. And I think that that's something that's happening right now, and we're witnessing that. And so thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the team. We're excited to have you producing these podcasts. We're excited to have you turning over content. We're excited to have your expertise, your curiosity, and your creativity, and all the things that that you really do bring to the team. So we're excited, and we're going to shut it down. So everybody, next week we'll be back. We'll be talking about Loretta Lynn's spring race. We're going to talk about some matchups. We're going to get into all that. And Savannah and I will be out there. Justin will be out there firing the pistol. And I think Andy's got other affairs that he won't be at that one, but we'll be talking about it next week. So make sure you subscribe, relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for tuning in and supporting what we're doing and what we're growing, and we'll see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.